For the last couple of months, I have started every single one of my videos with something like, this is day 12 of my 30 days of decluttering in January video or whatever it is. And now that I am in February and I have no challenge, I have no clear goal, I honestly have really struggled. So I meant to sit down at some point earlier this month and set out a list of things I wanted to achieve this month in terms of decluttering and cleaning, etc. Projects in which to record YouTube videos about, but most importantly, to get on top of my house. And I didn't do that. I haven't done that yet. It's been, I don't know, I've just felt a little bit unproductive. I've still got that January feeling, I think. I don't know, are we calling this the February blues? I don't feel like depressed. I don't feel too sad or anything. I just feel a little bit lacking in direction. So we need to rectify that. I need to sit down with pen and paper and work out a list of things I want to do, because I have loads of ideas like running around in my head, but when it gets to the actual day and I think, what am I going to do? Like, what is my project for the day? What is my plan? I have nothing to refer back to, and it's like everything poof goes out of my brain. So I had known that I needed to sort out the fridge. The fridge was something that I knew I needed to do. For some reason lately, the fridge has been a bit of a blocker for me, like clearing out the fridge, getting on top of it. I used to be pretty good at giving it at least a bit of a clear out before I did the weekly food shop. And I don't know what it is. It's just really been bugging me lately. So I know that there's things in there that have sat in there for a couple of weeks and I needed to sort it. So I was like, do you know what, we'll just do the kitchen. We'll call this, what can we clear from the kitchen? And now what does work for me repeatedly is setting a timer, a visual timer, audio timer, that is set for a short period of time, like call it 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever works that day. And then just saying that I'm gonna spend this time doing this job. And when the timer goes, I can stop. Like, that's it. That's all I need to do is like 15 minutes in this one area. And when the timer goes, I'm done. And I would say, I don't know, I'm gonna say 8 times out of 10, I will want to continue after the timer goes off. Like, I'll be in the flow. I just need to get myself in the flow of the thing. And this actually works for anything in life. Like, if you're struggling with productivity, I have a productivity app on my phone, which is called Bear Focus. And that works on a timer basis. It only works when you turn your phone like upside down so you can't see the screen. And then I have it set to this like really nice background sound of like streams and, nice kind of outdoor, in nature kind of sounds. And then you kind of get your head down for 25 minutes at work, and then it will sound like a timer will go off saying like, do you want to take a break? And I usually just overrule it, because by that point I'm like, I'm in the flow, like I'm on it. So I need that. I'm clearly someone that really needs this to get going on things. And I'm just in one of those moods. Like, the day before I did this kitchen declutter, I had been intending on doing it. And I did nothing that day. I was just in a bit of a mood. And actually thinking about it, I decluttered 45 days over December and January. I decluttered an area of my house, which is like masses, really. And for a lot of that, right, I'm not going to feel up to it. Like, I'm going to be tired or grumpy or just, for whatever reason, not in the mood. Like, there were so many days where I was not in the mood. And this is what I reminded myself this particular day. I was like, you weren't always in the mood for it, but you got a lot done in the last couple of months, because one, you had a clear challenge process. You knew what you were going to do. You had declared an objective, right? And then 2, you would use the timer. So, right, the kitchen is something, the fridge is something you need to do, set the timer and just get on with it now. So basically that's what we did. Another thing that I find frequently is that when I am decluttering a space, I will get certain areas or certain things that are like a real blocker to me, or I'm really struggling with making a decision on, what do I do with all of these bouncy balls? So I have been through this particular area I'm doing here. This is like, I will call it a junk cupboard area, an area of this cupboard, which has just bits and bobs, and some of these things that we use a lot, like pens at the front there, and we've got hand cream and all sorts of things. But there's some things like the things I'm going through now are actually like gift cards. I need to spend some time actually go into some shops and work out what gift cards have expired, what have some money left on, what don't. Some of them I know, some of them I don't. So I need to sort that out. There are also things in there that we might need and that we don't use as regularly. One of the things that I've left in there, I talked about in another video, it's a silly thing, little plastic bouncy balls or rubber bouncy balls that kids get in party bags regularly. And my kids love them. And lately, I have to say, my 2-year-old has been asking for bouncy balls. She opens the cupboard. That's one cupboard where the lock doesn't work because kids keep pulling on it. Most of our cupboards are locked. I think, I've had comments from people who are concerned about, access to chemicals, etc. Most of our cupboards are locked in the kitchen, whether they have food in or not. The cupboard on the left, for example, has our blender in, that has sharp blades. That is locked, so the kids can't accidentally get a hold of that. The drawers are not, but then we make sure that they don't have things, as you can see, that would cause them any injuries or us any concerns. So they're either high up, we have knives, they're at the highest level the 2-year-old can't get to, and anything chemical-wise or whatever is in a locked cupboard. But for the bouncy balls, anyway, they are something which I like to supervise. So we keep them in a cupboard rather than with kids' toys, because some of them are quite small. The kids love them. They love that they'll get them out and they'll, just ricochet them from one side of the house to the other. And then I'm left crawling under things to retrieve bouncy balls. But anyway, they love them. But when my 2-year-old's been getting them out recently, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, some of them are on the smaller side. Like some of them, I think that there's no way you would manage to swallow that, or at least we hope not, but I still want to supervise it. And then there are some of them which are a bit smaller. And I thought, what, just instead of being so, having it as an issue of worry, just get rid of the few that are too small now. And it was like a little light bulb moment when I was doing this declutter and I was looking, I got them all out and they're all together and I thought there are loads more that are, a larger size, and there's just a few that are a bit smaller. So put them in the bin. And then, my 2-year-old is going to be 3 and 4 and 5 before we know it, and I won't have to worry about these things and it won't be so much of a concern. And I say that about my 2-year-old, but honestly, my nearly 5-year-old still puts almost everything in his mouth. He's just one of those kids. He's always biting his nails, chewing on fabric, putting something in his mouth. I was watching him at swimming lessons yesterday and he's got a floaty and he's chewing the corner of it. And I was like, I'm up, the parent viewing bit at the top, and I'm trying to signal to him to take it out of his mouth, shaking my finger at him and trying to get his attention, like, stop chewing this, because you know what it's like foamy stuff. In a minute he's going to break off a corner of this floaty. He didn't actually, but we're very lucky that he didn't, and the teacher hadn't seen what he was doing, but he's just automatically, like, it's without thinking, he puts everything in his mouth. And we went to my eldest is at Boys Brigade, which is a church run thing, and they had a family service at the church for Boys Brigade last weekend, and we all went along. It was lovely. Love a good sing-song, and it was all really good, and the kids all took it in turn to get up and do their bit. So the Boys Brigade, the older boys and younger boys, and the Girls Brigade, and they had dotted around the church 100 mini little Jesus figures, little plastic Jesus figures, and they're really small, but they were put along like skirting boards and above radiators on windowsills, and just sort of tucked around the church, so that then the idea is that, at one point in the service, as the pastor was explaining, that we probably hadn't noticed them, but of course some of the kids had. My kids, the younger ones, 4-year-old and 2-year-old, were in a little kiddie corner doing some colouring, whilst eldest was part of doing his Boys Brigade bit. And my 4-year-old had spotted a couple and he started scooping them up, but then they both just, my kids, just straight in the mouth. And I'm like, oh my god, you've just dotted 100 choking hazards around this room. I'm suddenly having to watch where they go and what they pick up. And now not only do I have to supervise tiny little rubber bouncy balls in my house, but now we have 3 mini Jesuses that I have to stop them from trying to choke on. So this is my existence, I feel like. As a parent of young children, you're basically trying to stop your kids from doing something which might kill them on a continual basis. So with all that said, anyway, the 15-minute timer had gone and I put another 10 minutes on the clock. Now this is an evening. In the background, I have got a movie running. I am now watching the Twilight movies, the vampire movies. I absolutely loved that series. I loved the books. I read all the books, watched all the movies when they came out in the cinema, which was, before I had kids and I could just go to the cinema whenever I wanted. And then I had a movie evening or day with my friend where we watched like all the movies like back to back. It was a day or a weekend, I can't remember now. So recently I just thought, I wanted to watch them again. So I've started to rent them out on Amazon, and I've been making my way through them, and I had one going on in the background, and I thought, I just actually want to just sit down and watch some of this. But actually in the end I got so sucked in, and then I bought the next one and then I ended up sat up until 1 a.m. watching Twilight movies. Why do I do this to myself? Is anyone else like this? Like, you're just trying to cram in like a whole life after the hours that your kids go to bed. And because our kids do like us to sit with them while they go to sleep, and we could train them out of this, but we're also happy to do this. So this is something that we do, and means that we don't get out of their bedrooms often until like 9, half 9 at night. And our evenings start pretty late. So I did the declutter anyway, and then started the edit of the video while I was watching the Twilight movies. But do you like those movies? And have you seen them? And have you seen them recently? Because I don't know about you, the first time I watched them, I guess I was actually working it out, and I think I would have been 25 when I watched them the first time around. So I felt like on an age level, I related more to the kind of main characters. And then this time around, watching them, I was looking at Bella's dad and thinking, oh my God, like Bella's dad would have felt so old to me like then, but actually I'm closer to his age now. But yeah, that's the thing that happens with movies. So this is everything I got rid of in 25 minutes. Which was loads. So where we've got food in containers, I'm not getting rid of the containers. We've got a bowl there, we've got a plate. So it is, the food itself rather than the container. I do still need to sort out the jars of tomato sauce, but we'll do that. And a lot of it was just rubbish or things. There were a couple of things that had gone off, a couple of bowls that I'm not using, all this stuff here, all that recycling at the back. In 25 minutes, so much stuff. I will see you in the next one. Bye.